Methylation is important for repairing damaged cells, processing hormones, detoxification, optimizing DNA cell function, regulating neurotransmitters, metabolizing B vitamins. MTHFR and autism. In this study, the researchers looked at the prevalence of MTHFR gene variants in 168 children previously diagnosed with autism. The prevalence was 98%. 98% of the children with ASD in this study had at least one polymorphism in the MTHFR gene. The 677CT1298AC, which lowers enzyme activity by 50 to 60%, was found to be significantly more prevalent in the autistic group. Notably, only 2% of children with ASD in our study presented without at least one polymorphism in the MTHFR gene. So earlier this year, I looked into this topic because I know I have this mutation. All humans have certain genetic variations or mutations that can influence our health. MTHFR SNPs. C677T and A1298C. Those are the ones I have. MTHFR is a critical enzyme in the body. It required for a metabolic process that repairs DNA, switches genes on and off, and numerous other important functions. MTHFR is also essential to convert folate and folic acid, each a form of vitamin B9, into the biologically active form called L-methylfolate or 5-MTHF. A mutation in the MTHFR gene may therefore affect enzyme function. A mutation in the MTHFR gene, also known as a polymorphism, defect, or variation, can be passed down from your parents. Dirty methylation is associated with high blood pressure, high histamine, gallbladder stagnation, high homocysteine, and imbalanced neurotransmitters. Homocysteine is an amino acid linked to a wide range of health problems and is an independent risk factor of heart disease, stroke, and other forms of cardiovascular disease. I really wonder if this gene mutation runs in our family, because so many died of a stroke or were disabled by it on both sides. It has also been linked with a wide range of other health problems, including macular degeneration, Alzheimer's disease, hearing loss, and cancer. My mother had breast cancer. Folate deficiency. A deficiency in folic acid, folate, could be linked to MTHFR and is worth checking out. Common symptoms include extreme fatigue, lightheadedness and forgetfulness, long-standing gastrointestinal issues, such as irritable bowel syndrome, but this is a theory, an autoimmune disease, such as fibromyalgia, so I have for sure a tendency for that. When my body is stressed, I get that pain. Luckily, through my way of meat-based eating.
Welcome back to the Carnivore Evening News, where the news is always meaty. I'm your host, Kelly. A good time is being had by all. Dr. Baker reported research showing that a low-carbohydrate diet is associated with a lower all-cause mortality rate in people with pre-diabetes. This study shows that people who have trouble with high blood sugar and who can't process sugars well should probably avoid sugar. Astounding. This is great news for anyone who has struggled to connect those very obvious dots. Dr. Baker also celebrated his 54th birthday this week and wore his favorite shirt while he tortured his very tiny exercise bike. I hope that thing is getting workman's comp. In fact, we'll go ahead and offer a moment of silence for Dr. Baker's exercise bike at this time. Thank you.
I have really reversed chronic pain. I can't say that enough. It was such a blessing. But whenever my nervous system gets triggered, I will feel it, either migraine or fibromyalgia or both. And then there is a long history of anxiety or depression based more on anecdotes than solid science. But this makes definitely sense to me. I still have anxiety whenever, again, my nervous system is triggered, or rather PTSD gets triggered, then I will feel anxiety. Depression is a thing of the past that was really related to nutrition and eating the wrong food, so I for sure can say depression is not something I struggle with now, but the anxiety, yes. L5-MTHF efficiently supports methylation, DNA biosynthesis, homocysteine metabolism, and nervous system function. So important. It is easily absorbed and used by cells. This is why I take this form of folate. It is the predominant folate in circulation and the only folate that can cross the blood-brain barrier. It bypasses any MTHFR defects and is shown to be equally, if not more effective at increasing plasma folate levels and reducing homocysteine concentration. A dirty MTHFR may work better with additional riboflavin, as this vitamin is what the MTHFR gene needs in order to make L-methylfolate. Riboflavin may help support healthy mitochondrial function, which is extremely important as well. As the saying goes, genes load the gun, environment pulls the trigger. A lack of active folic acid alongside of a low folate diet can also lead to a folate deficiency, which has major health implications on its own. Folate function as a coenzyme in single carbon transfers in the synthesis of the DNA and RNA. As a nootropic, folate is also involved in gene expression, amino acid synthesis, myelin synthesis, and is required for the synthesis of the neurotransmitters dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Dopamine. I always said I lack dopamine, and therefore it was always difficult to have enthusiasm. Some people, they just have so much enthusiasm. So yeah, I would say it is much better since I started supplementing for MTHFR gene mutation, because now I at least know what it is. MTHFR and histamine intolerance. What's the connection? While MTHFR mutations may increase your symptoms of histamine intolerance and related symptoms, you shouldn't be worried if you have MTHFR issues. Through natural dietary and lifestyle strategies, you can support your body and regain your health even with MTHFR mutation. Genes and enzymes involved in histamine regulation. MTHFR is necessary to make the MTHFR enzyme. This enzyme is necessary to convert homocysteine into methionine and plays a critical role in methylation and detoxification as well. HNMT is a gene that is needed to process, regulate, and break down histamine. SAMe. Oh yeah, I know that one well. It helps the formation, activation, and breakdown of a variety of hormones, proteins, and drugs in your body. Supplementing with SAMe is often beneficial for those with anxiety, depression, PMS, premenstrual dysphoria disorder, which is PMDD, and fibromyalgia when their body is unable to naturally produce SAMe. Yeah, that's why I am supplementing with this. Then we have the MAO, monoamine oxidase, is an enzyme that helps the breakdown of histamine. And then DAO, diamine oxidase, is an enzyme that is critical for the breakdown of histamine. And I have to supplement with the diamine oxidase, and it really was a game changer. Before I knew I had a histamine intolerance, it was a roller coaster. I didn't know what to do, and I had so many migraines. And I was stressed all the time. I just did not have any control over it. But since I am supplementing with the diamine oxidase, I at least have some grip on this issue. And it is such a relief. But it doesn't work for everybody. But if you don't know, you can give it a try. Maybe it helps. MTHFR gene mutations can lead to methylation issues, histamine intolerance, allergies, hormonal issues, food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, anxiety, depression, sleep issues. MTHFR genetic links to histamine intolerance. The HNMT is a gene that is absolutely critical for histamine processing. It also requires SAMe as a cofactor to do its job. However, SAMe requires a functioning MTHFR enzyme in order to be produced. Now you can understand that if your body is dealing with MTHFR genetic mutation, it will lead to lower MTHFR function and disrupt the HNMT's work. This can slow the removal of histamine from your body, leading to an array of symptoms associated with histamine intolerance, including anxiety, skin problems, digestive troubles, headaches, migraines, fatigue, and an abnormal menstrual cycle. I have all of those. Moreover, MTHFR gene mutation also interferes with methylation. Methylation is critical for detoxification. So important. Methylation problems may lead to your body's inability to effectively remove toxins, creating a build-up of histamine, which increases histamine intolerance and symptoms. Furthermore, mutations may occur in DAO, MAO, and HNMT as well, which can further interfere with removing histamine from your body and further increasing histamine intolerance and symptoms. Where can you test for MTHFR mutations? So you can do the 23andMe. I did this one. And there is the Stratagene genetic analysis by Dr. Ben Lynch. For accurate results you can trust. And what else can you do? Manage stress. Reduce anxiety and learn how to manage stress better. Yeah, mindfulness is great. And I also do the Qigong and Tai Chi. And if you actually are aware that you have a trauma issue, CPTSD, forget about talk therapy. It's not about behavior. It's about the nervous system. How and what can we learn from animals in this regard? In the natural world, the survival responses are normal, healthy, and to the animal's advantage. When animals experience life-threatening events, they quickly move beyond the initial shock reaction and recover. Their reactions are time-limited and do not become chronic. Observing this behavior can give us an understanding of our own instinctual ability to successfully overcome trauma. We can also learn more about how not to interfere with our instincts. The experience of the felt sense gives us a backdrop for reconnecting with the animal in ourselves. Knowing, feeling, and sensing focuses our attention where healing can begin. Nature has not forgotten us. We have forgotten it. When the reptilian brain speaks, listen. Every behavior, every movement is instinctual for the reptile. Conscious choice is not an option. Instinct and instinct alone controls the search for food, shelter, and a suitable mate for procreation. All defensive strategies are genetically programmed into a primitive and highly effective brain. These behaviors are part of rhythmical cycles over which the reptile has no control. Day by day, season by season, year by year, for hundreds of millions of years, these rituals of life have been repeated. Why? Because they work. And this is why talk therapy alone doesn't work for trauma healing. Embedded deep within the brain of every animal and human animal is the reptilian brain. It is the home of the instincts. The only way to consciously access our healing resources is through sensation and the felt sense. Sensation is the language of the reptilian brain. Biologically and physiologically, the reptilian brain is essential to all animals, including humans. It is encoded with the instinctual plans for the behaviors that ensure the survival of the species, self-preservation and reproduction. Involuntary changes that regulate the body's vital functions are controlled from this part of the brain. The reptilian brain is the template from which all higher life has evolved. While its function can be enhanced or seemingly overridden in higher animals, the behaviors that originate in the reptilian core of the brain are the key to unlocking the mystery of trauma. These behaviors are what allow us to experience ourselves as human animals.